Alpha Nerd Entertainment. How's it going, everybody? Steve here from Alpha Nerd Entertainment. I want to thank you for dropping by the channel. Today I'm finally making the first video in a small series of videos which will be my favorite video games of all time. I've decided to make the list an extra 50, and instead of doing my top 100, I am in fact doing my top 150 games of all time. Before I started a YouTube channel, one of the things I always wanted to do, if I were to have created one, would be my favorite whatever. Top favorite movies, favorite wrestlers, favorite Seinfeld episodes, favorite South Park episodes. In this case, being a gaming channel, what better than to do my favorite video games of all time? Let me tell you, it was not easy to determine this. And in a year's time, I may rewatch this, or in 5 years' time, I'll look at it and be like, oh, some of these games need to be jumbled around a little bit. But I feel like I put in enough work with this to determine how the list should be. And I want you to keep in mind that it is, in fact, my list. Many of your awesome favorite games might not be on this list. And that is unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it is my list, and I have to stay true to myself. It also makes me want to bring up, how did I determine a game making the list? There are some situations throughout this 150 where you'll see, say, one game at like 119th spot and another game at like 117, for example, and think, wow, both those games are so incredibly different. How are they so close together in the rankings? Well, there's something to consider. What do I take from video games? In some cases, I love the fact that certain games are so short and sweet that if you have 15 minutes, you can play them and enjoy them. And they have such a fun factor that it always keeps you coming back for more, and it's just something you can keep playing over and over again. Just makes it so charming and so likable. In that case, some shorter games will make the list just for being fun and short. Other games that are such long, grueling adventures with such, captivating and enthralling stories make the list because they're just so well done and put together. Though they might not have the replay value of some of those shorter, more fun games, they leave a lasting impression that is undeniable to not keep them in that top 150, even if they're almost a one-and-done game, or you play it twice in a lifetime. If it's that good, it still deserves to be on the list, even if it's not something you're going to return to every year or every even 5 years. In the case of some games, there are a few games on my list that I have only played and beaten once. But I remember the impact it had on me and what an impression it created, where I was like, wow, do you know what? That was a really good game. Some of the games on the list I've beaten 50 plus times. But anyways, with that being said, guys, I hope you can appreciate that I took the time to create this list. And it's going to be a series of videos. Starting with the first 50, I am going to get through these ones a little bit quicker. And as we get closer to the top, I'm going to be talking about the games a little more in depth. But at the end of the day, I don't want it to be too long-winded of a series, and I kind of want to make it get to the point. But also, seeing as they are my favorite games of all time, I want to be able to say a little something about them instead of just skipping through them rapid fire. Like I said, the first 150 will be a little quicker, but I still got a little something to say about them. So let's just start with my 150th favorite game of all time. Strider 2 for the PlayStation 1 is a beautiful looking, fast-paced action game, and if you haven't played it, I think you should. This game is a whole lot of fun, and it looks fantastic. It has unlockable characters and some really cool level design and some really cool bosses. Number 149. Road Avenger for the Sega CD. This game, I do love this game a lot. Though it is just a game where you kind of do the on-screen commands, quick time events, if you will, it's fun to watch play out. It's fun to learn from your mistakes. And it's just an exciting, cool game that I can always revisit. Number 148. The Lucky Dime Caper, starring the infamous Donald Duck. Is a really hard game, by the way, and a game I would consider Master System tough. Is a rewarding game to play and beat. It might not be a top tier game to some of you, but believe me, if you take the time to try this one, you'll discover that it is absolutely awesome, hard, and 100% a hidden gem. Number 147. When we're talking about fun and keeping 2D retro alive, or 2.5D retro alive, Disney's Hercules for the PlayStation 1 is a beautiful looking game that plays absolutely awesome. It is a whole lot of fun. It's short, it's sweet, and it plays so much like a cool 2D game from the 16-bit era. Number 146. Sega Dreamcast's Blue Stinger is a game that I have only played and beat once. I wish I had a copy or access to emulate it, but this game is actually really awesome. It's cringy, it's corny, its music is over the top and insane, but that's what makes this game so incredible. After you play and complete this game, there's a good chance it might be one of your all-time favorites. It's something I think more people should give a try, and often this game goes incredibly overlooked. It is a really, really, really underrated, awesome game. Number 145. Comix Zone. Man, this is a good game. It's a little slow-paced, a little difficult to learn, but damn, is it a well-designed game. The Sega Technical Institute of America made a lot of good games, a lot of hard games, and Comix Zone is 100% one of those awesome games. It's not a game I always want to return to, but every 3 or 4 or 5 years, I want to do a playthrough of Comix Zone. It's a damn good game. Number 144. The Flintstones for the Sega Genesis. Hey, there's a good game on the Super Nintendo. There are 2 good games on the NES, but it's the Genesis one that I love the most. Beautiful, bright graphics, good level design, great controls, cool characters like Fred Flintstone and the rest of the gang. Just a bright, colorful, fun game, and I love the last 2 worlds of this game. It's wicked. Number 143. Shout out to Stampede Gaming. Sorry, buddy, but Blasto makes the list. The fun commentary provided by the late Phil Hartman adds to the charm of this game. Some really nice looking graphics for the PS1. Some creative level design. It's a little bit cheap. It's definitely hard as hell, but it's a damn good game. And I think it's a pretty rewarding experience to get through and beat. Love me some Blasto. Number 142. Rolling Thunder 3. Not enough good things I can say about Rolling Thunder 3. We're talking about one of the most overlooked games in the 16-bit era. Awesome graphics, a Namco classic, great controls, wicked level design, and way better music. Rolling Thunder 3 is a game you all need to stop sleeping on. Go play it. It's absolutely awesome. Number 141. The Last of Us, another game I've only played and beat once, and I plan on playing it again soon, is actually a very good game. Now, I don't love this game the way some people do, and I don't think it's one of the greatest games of all time, but I can't deny that it is a very good game. One thing I really liked about The Last of Us is the further I got in this game, the more I got pulled into the story, and the more I started to enjoy my experience playing it. When it was all said and done, I knew I played a really good game, and at some point I will get around to the second, but there is something special about this Naughty Dog game. It's a good one. I think there's not enough good things I can say about it that haven't already been said by many other people. The Last of Us, number 142. 141. Correction, 140. Vice City, Grand Theft Auto. This game's wicked. It's a pain. It had me raging a lot. But Tommy Vercetti and the rest of the cool characters in this game, the Scarface style story, the music of this game is absolutely awesome. The drive-y controls are really good. A lot of memorable missions. It's Vice City, man. It's a classic. And I only played it and beat it for the first time in, I think, 2021, maybe 2022. And I tell you, with zero nostalgia for the game, I knew I played a really good one when it was all said and done. Number 139. Sega Genesis Mega Drive's port of Ghouls and Ghosts. Love how fast Arthur moves in this version. Love that he can shoot up, and I'm pretty sure he can shoot down. He is for sure the most agile and offensive Arthur from the series. I like that it's not super long, and I like that it's not ridiculously hard while still being a tough game. This for sure is my favorite from the G&G series. Ghouls and Ghosts looks fantastic, plays great. It's an iconic game, and I think you all love it as well. Number 138. Well, not being a big Mega Man fan, I'm a bit of an oddball when it comes to my favorite Mega Man game, and Mega Man 8 is my favorite Mega Man game. I don't know. I love its PS1 graphics. I love the music in this game. I like the bosses of this game. There's just not much I don't like about Mega Man 8. Not entirely sure why so many people dislike it so much. Jump, jump, slide, slide. I don't know. I just love Mega Man 8, and I don't know why more people don't. It's a great game. To me, it's good enough to make the top 150. Number 137 is a game I played and beat, but only once. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I played it to getting all the endings, which I believe are 3 endings. And yeah, when I played it for the first time with no nostalgia in 2014, man, boy, was I pulled into this game. I tell you, to this day, I don't have a whole lot of knowledge of the game. It did take me a long time to beat it. I did it without any assistance. Didn't ask for any help, didn't look up any videos. It took me a long time and left me puzzled on many different situations. But I tell you, when I beat this game, I knew I played an absolute banger. And I knew it was definitely one of the best games ever made. It is absolutely incredible. I could go on for a while about what makes it such a good game, and it should probably be higher on the list if it wasn't so long and didn't lack such replay value. And I hate that Alucard can't dash forward and you have to turn around and do it. That part to me is weird, but the game is awesome. Number 136, Sega Master System's Ninja Gaiden. Damn, this is a fun game. This is a fun game. It's a tough game. If you know what to do, it becomes a whole lot easier. But man, oh man, this is a good game that plays incredibly well. And honestly, its graphics for the Sega Master System are just beautiful. One of the best looking 8-bit games. If you haven't played Ninja Gaiden for the Master System, do it. Even more so if you're a big fan of the series already. It's awesome. Number 135. Even though the Super Nintendo and arcade version are clearly probably better games, there's something to me about the Genesis Sunset Riders. It's just incredibly fun. It's hard, but it's short, and I think that's what makes it so engaging, is that it's not that big of a commitment. So you know when getting good at it, you don't really have to dig super deep. It's a good game. I like the way it plays. I think it's underrated. And I think you should play some Sunset Riders. Number 134 is a game everybody's sleeping on. What creative level design in Asterix and the Great Rescue. This game is awesome. Its music's wicked. Its graphics are okay. But like I said, clever, smart level design that changes throughout the course of your playthrough. It really mixes things up. This is an awesome, underrated game and a hidden gem on the Sega Genesis that I don't see anybody playing. Give Asterix and the Great Rescue more love and attention.
Welcome to the sewers, punk. The guy you're replacing, he had that same tough guy smirk on his face that you do, till he hit the wall. They're out there now blotting him up with handy wipes. The ghost here, I always come back for more.
Number 133. Welcome to the sewers, punk. The guy you're replacing had the same tough guy smirk on his face that you do until he hit the wall. Sewer Shark for the Sega CD is not a bad game, and I'll argue it to my death. Sewer Shark is fun. If you have any kind of decent memory, you pay attention in those first 2 levels, you follow your coordinates, and you blast your way through one awesome railgun shooter. Sewer Shark is wicked. It's corny, it's cringy, it's hilarious, it's fun, it's not that long, it is rather tough, but when you know what to do, you're going to have a really good time. Just make sure to hit those recharges coming up! Sewer Shark is awesome, and I will not let anybody tell me otherwise. Go play yourself some Sewer Shark. It rocks. Number 132, Headhunter, another game I consider a bit of a hidden gem. I love what I say about this game. I often say if Resident Evil and Metal Gear Solid had a baby and that baby was retarded, it would be Headhunter. Now, that might not sound like the coolest thing in the world, but let's face it, when you got two things like Resident Evil and Metal Gear creating a baby, even if that offspring's defective, it's still going to be awesome. And Headhunter is awesome. It's not perfect. It's brilliantly corny. It's brilliantly cringy, but it's a clever, damn good game with some awesome, fun missions. It's a gem. It's a gem on the PS2 and Sega Dreamcast. Headhunter is really wicked. I will leave it at that. Number 131, Crash Bandicoot. Hard as balls. Hardest Crash game I've played. Don't love it as much as the second or third, but damn, Crash is wicked. It's a PS1 icon. From its awesome commercials that they had back in the day, to its wonderful creative level design, running into the screen, running away from the screen, 2D levels, swimming levels. Crash has a little bit of everything. Challenging bosses. It's Crash Bandicoot, man. He's an icon, and you can honestly say he's probably the third mascot to hit the big scene next to Mario, Sonic, and, well, Crash. He left an impression, and I wish he left more of an impression over the course of video game history, but 131 goes to Crash Bandicoot. Number 30, another game I've only played and beat once, but I'll never forget how captivated I was and enthralled I was with this game. Metroid Prime for the GameCube is one incredible game. And I've never been a huge fan of Super Metroid because I just felt like a game like this would be better when the future hit, and that future was in the early 2000s. And I felt this game was better off in a first-person perspective. And I think it really is an incredible game, and I think it's the best in the series from what I played. Now, you know, man, my opinion doesn't hold much weight there because I'm not like a connoisseur of the series, but I tell you, I can appreciate Metroid Prime a lot. That game is absolutely incredible and a masterpiece to say the least. Number 129. Oh, super clever puzzle game, and I love Looney Tunes characters. Ralph Wolf, Sam Sheepdog, Sheep Braiders for the PS1 is absolutely awesome. It is a really, really, really creative, smart game. There is a medieval level that is really cheap. The boss is borderline ruins the experience of the game if you get that far. But if you can beat him, you're going to get through the whole game, and outside of that, it's an otherwise perfect game. It's really awesome stuff. If you like those kind of games, it's a puzzle platform, more puzzle than platform, but awesome mixture of both. Number 128 is a game many people would have in their top 25. Didn't grow up with it, and if I did, it probably would be in my top 25 for sure. But Contra for the NES is a game I didn't really play until just a few years ago, and when I took the time to get good at it, I was quite aware of what a really good game this was. It beat the hell out of me when I first started playing it, and I had to grind my way through like everybody else. But with enough perseverance and enough practice, I got good at it pretty quickly because I was determined to get good at it. And well, it grew on me so much that I was like, damn, this game's awesome, and I want to know Death Run it. Because it plays that well. Its controls are that good, and when you understand the game, you just really understand the rhythm. Now, every time I revisit it, I'm rusty as hell because I don't have a lifetime of experience with it, but it's fun every time you pop it on and play it. It's short, it's sweet, it's Contra for the NES, and it is an iconic banger that should probably be higher on my list, but 128 is where it places. Number 127, Dragon's Lair 3D for the GameCube and also PS2 in Europe. Also released on the original Xbox. Oh man, this game's good. Another underrated, overlooked game. Dragon's Lair 3D is an awesome concept. It takes the brilliant world of Dragon's Lair and brings it into a platform game. It takes it away from the QuickTime events and gives it what it should have had, and I honestly wish there was another game like this today. Dragon's Lair 3D did something I always wanted them to do with the series, and like I said, I wish they would do another one in that fashion. Wicked game. Tough game, but also not that hard if you get used to the controls, and I tell you, man, just a fun experience making your way through that castle. Dragon's Lair 3D is absolutely awesome. Number 126, released on PS1 and the N64. The superior version is for the Sega Dreamcast, Spider-Man. This game's excellent in so many different ways. Just awesome villains, great level design, good 3D game for its generation. It makes the top list of all three of those systems I mentioned. It's just a damn good Spider-Man, and definitely one of the best Spider-Man games ever made. That's all I can really say about it at this time, that I owe it another playthrough. I've beaten it twice in my life. Once back in the day on Dreamcast, and once again on PS1 about 10 years ago, and it's always something I want to revisit, and I will revisit it again. It left a lasting impression both times I played it. Number 125. Well, I'm an enormous fan of South Park, and that's about the only thing that would get me to play an RPG, The Stick of Truth. Its sequel is excellent, but not as good as The Stick of Truth. This story is hilarious. The characters are obviously awesome. And again, not being a fan of RPGs, it took something like South Park for me to play one. And I tell you, I really enjoyed it. Now, I enjoyed it because I'm a South Park fan. The RPG elements I still found really engaging and awesome as well. It's The Stick of Truth. It's definitely a masterpiece in its own right. It may be silly, it may be funny, and because of that, you might think you can't take it too seriously to call it a masterpiece, but it really is. It's excellent. Number 124, Tarzan for the PS1. Another game from the 5th generation, I believe, that kind of captures the magic of platformers from the 4th generation. Plays very much like a 2D game. Similar to Crash Bandicoot, it does have levels where you run into the screen and away from the screen, but the majority of the game is played in a 2D style way with 2.5D graphics, and it's a really good game. Disney made a lot of good games, and Tarzan most definitely is one of those. Chase HQ 2, or Super Chase HQ for the Sega Genesis, is my favorite of the Chase HQ games. There are many awesome Chase HQ games, whether it's Special Criminal Investigation, but my favorite definitely is the Genesis version. Using the Ferrari, the transport truck, the Jeep, mixes things up a little bit. If you've got 15 minutes and some skill, you can enjoy Chase HQ. This game is awesome. The series is awesome. It's super fun. Go play it right now if you haven't played and beat it, and take the time, because it won't take a whole lot of time to get good. And yeah, once you get good, you got 15 minutes, you're going to blast through it. And if you're really, really good, you're going to do it in under 10. Number 122, Strider. Bum, 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 bum. I decided to pause there for a moment just to play that opening music, because Strider is, again, an awesome Capcom game that I don't see that many people playing. I'll never understand why. There's so many good Capcom games, there's so many big Capcom fans, but one thing I don't see a lot of people doing is playing the Strider series. And Strider's awesome. This port for the Genesis is so perfect that when you play the arcade version, there isn't much difference. So they're interchangeable in this spot. It's just a really good game. It can get a little cheap and a little difficult near the end, but it wouldn't be a Capcom game if it wasn't cheap in the later stages of the game. That doesn't make it bad. It makes it imperfect, but the game itself, it's awesome. And it's also another one that is short and sweet. Number 121. Huge fan of the TV show growing up. Capcom again. Darkwing Duck from the Nintendo Entertainment System. Wicked music, cool weapons, awesome characters, great villains, good level design. Not that long of a game. It's a good one. It's basically a Mega Man game, but with sprites from characters from the Darkwing Duck world. The Terror That Flaps in the Night is the 121st spot. It's a damn good game. 20. Now, sometimes I like to talk about games that people don't really know about very much, but Nosferatu for the Super Nintendo is a damn good game. And it's very much like Blackthorn Flashback or Out of This World, while being a little different. If you took Castlevania and Flashback and smashed them together, you would almost get Nosferatu. This game is really, really wicked. It's dark, it's eerie, it's a little bit gothic. It's atmospheric. It's good. It's a damn good game. Its controls are a little stiff and a little clunky, but I love it, and it's 120th spot on my list. 119, Rambo 3 for the Sega Genesis is a fucking banger. It's short, it's fun, it plays fast, it's good, it's one-hit death, it's wicked. You got crossbow that blows things up, he shoots in a cool widespread way. It's a good game. It's a classic. And if you played Rambo 3, you'll totally understand why it's sitting here on my list at 119. Another Capcom game coming in at 118th spot, Tailspin. Another Disney game, right? Yeah, Disney, I believe so. Yes, it is. Blue and the Gang it's a good one. It's a good one. And yeah, I don't know what to say much more than that. Is that Tailspin's a damn good game. It's a lot of fun. It's relatively easy. Your first playthrough will be challenging, but you know, once you get your way to the end of that game, you're going to understand the gaming mechanics pretty well and what to do in the levels, and you're going to quickly adapt to it. And it's a fun game. It's a damn good game that you can return to once every 5 years or less. 117 is a game that gets really tough towards the end. Game Gear's GG Shinobi. Well, the Shinobi series is absolutely awesome, and it's still awesome on the Game Gear. Graphics might not be the most beautiful, considering it's a little 8-bit Game Gear game, but they're still nice. The music is still great by Yuzo Koshiro, and the level design is very, 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 very clever and awesome. The boss fights are wicked, but again, you need to be a man to finish this one. Only the real gamers can execute the later parts of this game. It gets tough, but it's good. And it's rewarding when you get that W and victory in the end. GG Shinobi is 117th. 116th, another Spider-Man game on the list. Spider-Man vs. Kingpin and another Sega CD game. It's awesome. Great cutscenes. Great graphics in the cutscenes. Very smooth, fluent gameplay. Very crisp. Very smooth. Plays very fast. Very precise. Awesome villains. Everyone you could think of from the Spider-Man world is there to beat up in this game. And in the end, it is Kingpin who you will knock out and finish off and save Mary Jane. It's a banger. It's really good. It's got some corny music and some good music. It's awesome. Number 115, Metal Slug 2. Awesome run and gun. Damn. Just about any Metal Slug could make the list, but Metal Slug 2 is here at the 115th spot. There's a lot I like about the level designs, whether it's the level 2 with the zombies or just, it's a good game. The graphics are excellent. The gameplay is very, very good. I like that they give you grenades as an alternate weapon, so you're not just limited to your gun. It's Metal Slug 2. It's awesome. 114, Strikers 1945-2 is one of my favorite shooters of all time. This game is just really good. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it takes place in World War II, but you're fighting like alien futuristic ships. But the rest of it has a bit of a World War II feel. It's just a really good shooter. Typically, I like shooters that are run horizontally versus vertically, but this is a vertical one, and it's a damn good one. If you haven't played it, you should definitely play it. It was released on Sega Saturn, I believe, definitely PS1, and also in the arcade. Give it a try. It is awesome. 113, Marvel vs. Capcom. Absolutely awesome game. This game would be way higher on the list if it wasn't for the slightly small roster. One of the best fighting games ever made, and definitely one of the best end bosses. Onslaught is brutally hard, and I like it that way. When you get to the end, you should be facing some iconic, huge, very, very invincible character, and Onslaught is definitely hard. When you compare him to the Abyss in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, it's night and day in difficulty. The Abyss can get blown over by a gust of wind. Onslaught will have you losing over and over again, and for some reason or another, I think that's what adds to this game being so good. Outside of having great Street Fighter characters and great Marvel characters mixed together and being able to play as two characters jumping in and out, it's awesome. It's Marvel vs. Capcom. It is an arcade banger classic, and it doesn't need an introduction. It's just amazing. Number 112 is one of the funnest racing games of all time. Outrunners Arcade is, man, it's perfect. It's essentially the best outrun of all time, without question. We have a total of 10 goals, so it really changes things up, giving you way more branching paths and more ways to go. It's fun, it's colorful, but more importantly, it plays really well. It's just absolutely superb, and it bothers me that more people don't give the Outrun series a try. Makes no sense to me, but let me tell you, obviously people in the world did, because they're some of the highest selling arcade games of all time. Number 111, Desert Speed Trap. Probably an acquired taste. I think this game is awesome. I understand if anybody gives this game a chance, they're probably going to be turned off by the controls. But if you put in a half hour to an hour's worth of real effort, you're going to adapt to those controls pretty quickly and discover a really good game. It gets pretty goddamn hard near the end of the game, but it adds to the rewarding feeling you get when finally beating it. One cool thing about its difficulty setting is each difficulty setting you play it on has 2 extra levels. So if you beat it on easy, you're missing out on, I believe, 4 levels. You beat it on medium, you're missing out on 2. And if you beat it on hard, there are 2 extra levels to play and enjoy. It's just a really good game in my opinion, and definitely a hidden gem for the Master System and Game Gear. Again, its controls not perfect, but the game, it's a lot of fun. Number 10, a game was new to me, Ninja 5-0. Damn, this game's good. A Konami banger on the Game Boy Advance. Brilliant, intelligent level design, really good game, rescuing hostages and eliminating enemies in a ninja fashion systematically so you can exit the level alive. Gotta be smart, gotta be stealthy, and you gotta save the hostages. Can't let them die or else you'll be starting over. Ninja 5-0 is really, really good. It captures the feeling of the 4th generation with its style of gameplay. It's very much a game straight from that era, but on the Game Boy Advance. It's excellent. Give it a try. Number 109, Donkey Kong Country 3. Man, it's Donkey Kong Country series. Like, it's absolutely, it's incredible. Like, I tell you, back in the day when it was released, when we heard there was no Diddy, and again, no Donkey Kong, a lot of us were angry, and saying that out loud, there's a reason why it's so far down the list. It was a really dumb choice not to have either of those characters. But that doesn't change the fact that the level design is really good. The bosses are really good. The music is really good. And it doesn't change the fact that it is a really good game. It may fail in comparison to the first 2 in the series, but it's definitely a great game and one of my favorites of all time, 109th.
The irony of this game, Altered Beast, making my list at all is absolutely astonishing, considering I hated this game as a child all the way up until 2012. When I said, hey, I'll give this game one final attempt on a friend's recommendation, I decided to give my best effort, and I discovered that Altered Beast did not suck, that I sucked, and it in fact is a damn good game worthy of the 108th spot.
Resident Evil 4. Now, I do believe this game is overrated. I do. I think it's had way too many remakes. It's a really good game, and if it were 2006 right now, this would probably be 50 spaces higher on this list. But I don't think it's aged that well. However, it hasn't aged badly. It's still a very, very, very good game, and it is a masterpiece. I don't mean to undermine this one. It's just that it's so highly regarded that I don't think it's as good as most people say, though it's undeniably good, and there's a reason it is on my list. And I do owe it another playthrough. Haven't beat it in about 15, maybe 17 years. It's a good game, and I do want to revisit it sometime soon, and it will be curious for me to see how my opinion feels after I beat it again after so many years. Will it drop or will it move up the list? But Resident Evil 4 was a banger from the early 2000s, and yeah, it deserves to be on the list. Number 106, Alien Soldier. This game's awesome. Its controls, not the best. As far as changing weapons, this would be better ported or re-released with some updated controls, but you can adapt to them. It'll take a little bit to adapt to, but once you figure it out, man, this game is an absolute treasure. Little pun there, as it was made by Treasure. It's really, really good. It's a boss rush game that just high intensity and high reward. It's a really, really, really good game. Number 105, Luigi's Mansion 3. This game is beautiful. Haven't played a whole lot on the Switch, but man, I had to play this one. Being a huge fan of the first game, I was really excited to play this. This game it's really good. Yeah, that's all I can really say. It's excellent. It's just beautiful. Like, I'm a little bit at a loss because there's so many good bosses, and it is so crystally clear, bright, and colorful that it should probably be higher on the list. But there's so many good games on this that's where it sits in the 105th spot. Luigi's Mansion 3 is excellent. 104, Darius Gaiden. Oh man, this game is excellent. What a great shooter. What an incredible shooter. Epic bosses. Creepy, strange music. Multiple branching paths. It's really good. It's really good. I love its graphic style. Very similar to G Darius, but I do like its graphics better. It's more of a old school style looking graphics to G Darius's more polygon looking graphics. It's an awesome game and a wicked awesome shooter. Number 103, a new game to my life, The Great 1,000 Mile Rally. You got 15 minutes. You can play and beat The Great 1,000 Mile Rally. Its controls are fucking perfect for an isometric racing game. I can't believe how brilliantly good they are and just how charming this game is. It is fun personified. Like, it's just so fun. It's so fun that it's undeniable. I even people who aren't into isometric racing games would probably play this and be like, damn, that was a lot of fun. Number 102, Blackthorn. Oh, atmospheric, Blizzard classic, Blizzard before Diablo. This is a good game. I call it a part of the big three. The big three being these style of games, those being Out of This World and Flashback, and Blackthorn being probably the third best of the bunch. Though there is a newer game I played and beat that might surpass it. Blackthorn is a really thought-provoking game. You gotta have patience. And without patience, you're going to have a bad time and you're not going to get very far in this game. But that's what I like about it. It appeals to an older audience. You can't just rush in not thinking. There's consequences for your stupid, rushed actions. You must be smart about each movement. And when you do beat it, you're proud of your execution of the game because it made you move carefully. It's a really good game. And number 101, Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp. This game should probably be way higher on the list. This game is beautiful. It's brilliant. It's technically better than both Space Ace and Dragon's Lair. It's hard. It's very hard. But you will get better at it the more you play it. There's a lot going on, which adds to the difficulty. It is a eye fill of activity from start to finish, and they do this on purpose to distract you because it's just so much happening that it can really make it that much more difficult to react when you need to react. It's a masterpiece 100%. Its music and the way it just unfolds is a very smooth transition from each scene to the next. I don't know. I could go on forever, but Dragon's Lair 2 Time Warp is bloody brilliant. So, with that being said, everybody, thank you for watching this long-winded video. Now, moving forward, we're going to be talking about less games for a longer period of time, and the next one I'll be talking about from number 76 to 100. So, I hope you enjoyed the first 50 games of this series, and I tell you, I'm going to be a little exhausted by the time this series is done with, but I'll be glad that I did it because it was kind of fun to break down and think about and even in a way reminisce about the amazing games that had an impact on my gaming life. So until the next video, thank you for watching and keep it retro.